Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Sorry I've been posting a little bit slow lately. It's just because school has been like, so I'm trying to post every week, I promise. It's just, you know, things have been a little hectic lately. So just a couple announcements before I get into the meat of this video. Number one, I feel like I am the last YouTuber on earth to notice this, but please, 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 if you are subscribed, you have to hit the bell icon because apparently they've changed it. So if you're subscribed, you're only getting like 25 to 50% of the notifications anyway. And if you have the bell icon, you're 100% guaranteed to see the notifications. And I just think that's so dumb because it's like, why would I subscribe if I'm not getting all the notifications? Like, why is there an extra step? I don't get it. But it's YouTube's new thing, so please click that one little button. It's only one click and it would make my day. And I would really, really appreciate it because I'm making all this stuff for you guys. You're the one who wants to see it anyway. So come on, we gotta get those notifications. Thank you. Second thing is I am doing Inktober this year. I'm really pumped. It's been years. I've wanted to do this for so long and I'm finally doing it. So please, if you aren't already, follow me on Instagram and Tumblr to see the updated posts. Also, if you want, you can follow me on Snapchat, which is where I post like works in progresses and also pretty exclusive content. I post a whole bunch of things that I don't end up posting online. So those are all three really great places to go to if you're not already to see even more content than what I put out here. So this video is going to be super chill. I'm really not going to do a ton of editing. I'm just talking into a camera. So get some tea, get your sketchbook. We're just going to relax and talk about my mistakes of my youth. My favorite topic. This is stuff that it's like I wish I could have told myself in middle school, high school, and my early college years back at UConn. And we're just gonna get into it. So the first thing I want to say is do not get stuck into one technique, particularly if it's the only technique that you're good at. In high school, I had one skill, and that was to sketch and then ink and then watercolor on top. And for like probably about 4 or 5 years, that's exclusively all that I did. And the reason I only did those particular steps was because I was getting praise for it, yay. It turned out pretty good, also yay. And it was the only thing I knew how to do. So I was very locked into this technique, and it was just so repetitive and so dull because it's like super expected at a certain point. Also, it was just very limiting for me because I couldn't get certain effects through using only those techniques and only in the way that I did. If I had like stepped outside of the box and done other things in different mediums, it would have freed myself up a lot more. The other thing you have to remember is if you're like in high school or something, you are definitely going to change as an artist within the next 5, 10, 15, X number of years. So you cannot sit there and go, well, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. Not likely at all. So it really is worth your time to actually explore other techniques and see what else is out there. There might be something that's way better and more suited to you. And side note, if you're thinking about going to college, they're going to break you in the first year anyway and force you to do a whole bunch of things you're not comfortable with. That could be oil paints, watercolor, ink, charcoal, graphite, sculpture, film, photography. I mean, the list goes on. So you're better off trying to learn these things now, or they'll force you to later. Just saying. Second thing is do not get hooked on only 1 or 2 artists as your main sources of inspiration. For me, those 2 artists were Camille Rose Garcia and Abigail Larson. I loved their artwork, and if you look at my old high school stuff, it was just like a perfect amalgamation of the two, plus a little bit of my own stuff. And it's not like the stuff was terrible or anything, but it really limited me. Like it felt like if I did anything that wasn't them, like I shouldn't do it. Like I could only work within their particular wheelhouse. That limited me in color palette, artistic style, subject matter, technique, everything. I was very locked into that one sort of thing, and that thing wasn't even my own. So it gave me more art block than I really needed to, and it just made me very stagnant. Also, not to mention, you end up just looking like a really watered down rip-off artist. So it really is a good idea, if you're not already, to look up numerous artists and flood your head with as many as possible. Get obsessed with like 10 and make a really interesting style out of all of them rather than just kind of sorta copying 1 or 2. And to go along in that same route, be careful with aesthetics as well. Because I was following Camille Camille Rose Garcia and Abigail Larson, who were two very kind of gothic, creepy, cute artists, my art was specifically in that little niche aesthetic. And that wasn't the only time that I did that, but to go off of that, I felt like I could never draw outside of that aesthetic because like I was known for that or whatever, and I felt like that was me. And it was just super limiting and frustrating because there'd be times where I really want to draw something and I'd be like, no, that doesn't fit the thing. It doesn't fit the aesthetic. And that's just really dumb because again, you're too young to be saying that. And also, why would you ever want to be limited like that? Like, really? No. So please do not feel trapped into one aesthetic, one certain kind of look. Try to branch out. You're young, you can do that. Go see what else is out there. And the next couple of things I want to talk about are purchasing things. Number one, do not spend a crap ton of money on supplies that you're not 100% sure you're going to use and love. So one of my big regrets was this big box of Prismacolor markers, and it had like a really random assortment of colors, and they were all chisel tip, and I didn't know how to use chisel tip. I only knew how to use brush tip. So basically I ended up spending like $50 of like all of my Christmas money on these Prismacolor markers, which to this day I still barely use because even as a marker artist today, I don't like them because of the chisel tips and I don't like them because of the color selection. So that was a really dumb purchase. If you're interested in other mediums and you want to give it a shot, go for the more low cost, like the cheaper variety, and don't buy too much of it. Like, there is no point in putting down big bucks for that. There is, however, and this brings me to the second point, a lot of value in spending the big bucks on technology. I don't care if it's a camera or a tablet, just save the money and purchase the correct item, like the good thing, and just get it out of the way. Because when I was in high school, I paid for 2 or 3 different tablets that I thought were gonna be just as good as a Bamboo, but was gonna be like a 1/5 of the price. And I was really excited. I thought that I was cheating the system, and spoiler alert, I totally wasn't. It wasn't good at all. Like, they were all crap. It made me hate digital art for years, and it wasted all my time and my money, and it made me aggravated for years. So please, if you want to do digital art or you want to do something that involves like a real equipment, you're better off just saving your money and purchasing something that's a little bit more of high quality. Also, because I know everyone's going to ask, I use a Pentax K50 camera and a Wacom Intuos something. Specs will be down below. These next two things are also kind of related. First off, work hard, but know when to take breaks. Like, this is really, really essential. If you are feeling like crap and you're feeling super stressed every single day, all day, for weeks, and you're like living for the weekend, but even on the weekend, you're like doing way too much work, it's time to stop and reevaluate. Like, seriously, just hit eject, press the pause button, and reorder your priorities, because something is wrong and you are going to burn out badly. Like, I have been there. I have been at the absolute most burnout periods, and it's not fun, and it's just not something that you want to go through. So please give yourself breaks, you know, schedule things so you're not like racing to get things done at the last minute. You know, figure out what works for you so that you can take a rest if you need to. The flip side of that, though, is that you should not be a lazy artist. One of my favorite quotes is, bite off more than you can chew and chew it, because that is really the spirit that you want to give yourself. So when I was a freshman and a sophomore in high school, if I was given an assignment that was supposed to take 2 weeks, I would give myself a project that only took me like 2 days, and then for the rest of the time I'd be twiddling my thumbs, like waiting for critique. And what happened was I was just stagnating. Like, I wasn't really growing as an artist, I was just staying in my talent level. Versus when I decided, you know what, I'm gonna bite off a little bit more than I think I can chew, and I put a little bit more ambition into my work, then suddenly my growth went skyrocketing, because I was actually like doing things that forced me to do more stuff. And it was really beneficial for me. So again, I know those two things probably sound weird, like how can I take breaks and kill myself? But the critical thing is you want to do like your absolute max, but not surpass that max to the point where you're just like dying. Maximum effort and energy, but not at burnout. There is a fine line, and if you can reach it and not Overstep it, you're golden. So try to achieve that equilibrium. Oh, this is very important. When you are first starting off and learning how to draw things, you need to practice all the things at once so that when you're older, there's not very obvious weak points. And by that I mean, when I was in middle school or whatever, I was trying to learn how to draw bodies. That was really important to me, but I didn't really want to draw hands and feet. I was too scared, so I didn't do it. So now, thanks to my past self, when you see me draw people, like the bodies look pretty good, but once you get to the wrists, it's just shit. The hands and feet don't look good. And that's a really big issue because it's like a glaring flaw in my work. It's like my Achilles heel. And you don't want that. If you practice everything at once, then your skill is going to grow at the same time, so that ideally by the time you're like in your 20s or something, you're going to have your entire body, head to toe, head to limb, looking really good and professional and of a high quality. You just don't want to get to the point where there's glaring problems with your work. And I'm not just talking about anatomy. This goes for color theory, perspective, line work, style, a whole bunch of different things. Try to practice as much as you can, just like little bits here and there, so that when you're older, you don't have like this one big gaping hole of weakness that you are suddenly having to tackle. This is another big one. Accept compliments. If someone likes your work and they say, oh, that looks really cool, there's just one thing you need to do. You just need to smile and say, thank you. Really warm, enthusiastically, genuinely. That's all you have to do. 2 words plus a smile. Please do not be the douche in the room that's like, oh, it's not that good. Oh, I've done better. Oh, there's a lot of mistakes. Oh, it's just not that good. Like, don't be that person, guys. It is so immature and annoying. For the person who's giving you the compliment, like, they just want to give the compliment to you, right? They don't want to have to like argue to you why it's good. That's just not what they bargained for when they were talking to you. And then at the same time, I talked about this in my aspiring artist video, but if you are crapping on yourself, you are actually crapping on everyone that is slightly below you or at your same skill level. So imagine you're in a classroom and someone compliments your work and you say it sucks. That means you're saying that like half the class also sucks. That's really, really, really not good. So please don't be that jerk. I don't care if it is literally the worst thing you've done since 2012. Just say thank you, please. That's all you have to do, is just say thanks. This is another really big one. Personal work is always your best work. The reason I did so well at portfolio review days was because the professors who were reviewing my work loved my personal work way more than they liked any of my classwork. And the reason for that is when we do personal work, we are putting our heart and soul and energy and love into the piece. And it really says volumes about who we are as artists, who we are as a person. Versus classwork where you're just kind of like filling an assignment, it just kind of looks stale, not so good, and it sticks out as classwork. Like, you might as well just get a stamp that just like classwork on all of your stuff. The thing is, when you're submitting your portfolio to colleges, these professors who are reviewing your work have seen thousands of portfolios over the years. They can see pretty freaking crystal clear which is personal, which is classwork. So you have to put the energy into doing personal work, especially if you're in a class where your teacher is like really strict about like doing still lifes or something, like things that aren't fun. You have to find the time to do the personal work. It will always, always pay off in the end. And speaking of personal work and classwork, if you get an assignment from your teacher, try to twist the assignment into something that you genuinely would want to do. For example, a couple of weeks ago, I had an assignment about gravity. And gravity, like, I don't know, it wasn't something that I was super into. It's very kind of scientific-y, but I was in the mood to draw swans, so I had my piece full of swans. And now I think it's really, really cool, and I'm gonna, you know, put it as like a personal piece for something. Like, I really liked and enjoyed working on it. The same class, we have to do a project on evolution or creation of life. I wasn't really feeling it. But you guys know me, I love drawing interiors, right? So what I'm doing instead is I'm doing a series of desks, and I'm like through the desks I'm showing the progression of this character who is really interested in planes and eventually grows up to be like an aeronautic engineer. So like the first desk is like all these toy airplanes, and then like the adult desk is like all the blueprints and stuff for like actual planes, and it's really cool, and I'm having so much fun with it. So yeah, always push it. And if you're ever concerned, like I don't really think my professor is going to accept it, talk to them. Be like, hey, I know you've assigned blank, but I really want to do this. Like, can I do that? Can you work with me? Could you make an exception? Like, it's always good to communicate with your teachers first and foremost, but seriously, like always stretch it, because like I was saying before, personal work is the best, and the more you can do it, the better off you'll be. This might seem a little dumb, but learn Photoshop as quickly as you can. Because when I was in high school, I didn't know Photoshop and I didn't retain anything. So I just constantly asked my friends like the dumbest questions, like how do I change the size of my canvas? How do I crop? How do I change the brush size, etc., etc. And I annoyed the shit out of people. It made me really afraid of Photoshop because I didn't know how to use it, and it was just like a really bad thing. So please, you're definitely going to have to use Photoshop later in life. It's worth it to you if you just learn how to do the things now and just get it out of the way. Just like 30 minutes of your time clicking away on YouTube and you're done. And now the last point I want to talk about is just how to be a good student. And there's a few things that fall into this category. Number one, if there are people that are better than you in the class, don't be a jealous little egg angry in the corner. Be grateful that they're there because you can learn from them. Talk to them, befriend them, figure out what they're doing that is making them so special and so talented. If you're the worst in the room, you are in the best position to grow because you literally have so many resources right there that you can learn from. But that's going to be another video for another day, okay? Second is, if there are people in the room that are worse than you, don't use them as kind of like an ego boost. So what I mean is, if you're not feeling really good about yourself and your art, don't deliberately look for people in the room that are worse than you so you could be like, oh, okay, well, at least I'm not that guy. Because one, that's such a dick move. Like, that's just being really rude to the person, even if you're not saying it to them like out loud. It's just really rude and a negative way of thinking. Also, that person probably, no, definitely has something that they're better at than you are. That could be technique, composition, creativity. You don't know what it is, but you better find out. If you stop shitting on them, you probably can find out. So it's really good to just go into the classroom, no matter what your skill set is or what the skill set is of others. Always go in with an open mind and be kind to your peers, either verbally or mentally. And also, the last thing I want to say is respect your professors and your teachers. That means listening to them, because especially when you're really young, like if you're 50 years old and have some experience, like that's a different story. But if you're in middle school or high school or early college, they 100% know more than you. Definitely. You are not in the position to sass them. So listen to what they're saying, because they're probably trying to instill some kind of wisdom in you. Some professors, some teachers, there are major exceptions, definitely. I don't want people in the comments being like, yeah, well, my teacher said this. Yeah, I'm sure they're probably a dick, but you should listen to your teachers, and please be kind during critiques too. Talk during critique, listen during critique. Get the most that you can out of your education. You're there for a reason. So please make the most out of it and be a good student. We're all trying to grow. And if you want to grow, you better you just better do the damn thing. Okay? Okay. Now, I'm sure those of you who are watching this, I'm sure some of you guys are older than me. Definitely someone out there is a college graduate and is thinking, oh my God, I wish I could have told my past self about this and this and this. Now is the time to tell me. Please, if you have any sort of experience that you want to share, comment down below. Tell us what you regret not doing, something that you did that was really effective. Just let us all know so we can all learn from it, especially myself. I'm terrified of graduating, to be perfectly honest. So it'd be great if people could comment and say reassuring things or not reassuring things so I can learn, and that the rest of us can learn from too. Let's have the comment section be like a really great resource center. Next video, I'm crossing fingers, is going to be a vlog. I'm not good at vlogging. I'm not a vlogger, but I'm gonna give it a shot. So please pray for me. And yeah, that's going to be a thing. Like I said before at the beginning of the video, bell icon, please. And follow me on Instagram, Snapchat, and Tumblr if you want to see Inktober updates. I'll be doing a video about it probably in early November, so you can look forward to that. But if you are impatient like me, you can go follow me on those other things as well. And now that's the end of it. I hope you guys are having an awesome day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!